Okay, so this, y'all see Handshake over here? Is that what y'all are seeing? Okay, just want to make sure I'm on, make sure I'm on the right screen. Okay, so when you guys log in, this is what you're going to see. So we're a couple of things I want to cover first is you want to make sure in your profile. Now this is just my, my student account. You want to make sure that your profile is filled out as much as you possibly can. I obviously don't have everything in mind because it's just a kind of a faux student account, but it's really important that you have accurate information in here because this can affect whether or not you can possibly apply for certain jobs, because it may be saying you don't qualify based on what you have in your information. So you want to make sure that this information is correct here. So your graduation date, and if you want to have your GPA in there, that's fine. But sometimes this information is incorrect. If we pull our data from a system called Banner, and sometimes students' information in Banner is not correct for whatever reason. So you always want to make sure that this is correct. You can edit it here if it's not. And then also this information, the education section, you also want to make sure that one's correct. So sometimes the majors are not correct for whatever reason. If you changed your major, whatever, you want to make sure that that is correct and your graduation date is correct and that you have Rawls College of Business in there. Okay, so those are very, very important when it comes to Handshake, either sending you information or allowing you to apply for certain jobs. So this little box right here, My Journey, we see this one skipped a lot. You don't have to have that filled out, but I think it's a great place for you to introduce yourself to a possible recruiter that's looking at your profile. If you want to copy and paste your summary or about section off of LinkedIn and put it in there, you can do that. But I also recommend you use this box to go ahead and state again what your major is, what you're classified as, and when you're graduating, and what you're currently looking for. So if you're currently looking for an internship for summer of 2021, you would have that in your My Journey section. If you are looking for a full-time, have it in there what you're looking for, so that there's no, if an employer is confused, they're not sure when you're graduating, what's going on, they can just read it right there and know. But keep in mind that you need to keep that updated. So you don't want to be out there searching for a full-time job because you're about to graduate and it's saying that you're looking for an internship. Okay, so you want to make sure that that's what you want it to, what you want employers to see. All right, so that's enough about just that. I just want to make sure I get that out to you. Then the other thing too that's very important that you want to remember before applying for jobs is you have to have an approved resume in Handshake before your job application will go through. It won't tell you, it's not going to flag you and say that it's not going to let you apply because your resume is not approved in Handshake. It's just going to kick it out. So you don't want to go through that process and think your application's in when it's not. So make sure you have an approved resume in Handshake. The way you get through that is by uploading your resume as a document, and then it'll automatically go into the system for our resume review staff to look at that and begin giving you feedback on what needs to be changed so that you can get it actually approved in Handshake, okay? That has to be done before your application on any jobs will go through. So now I want to go ahead on, I'm sorry?
Sorry, is that the same for uploading cover letters and transcripts? Do those also have to be approved through the school?
It just depends on, you don't have to have that in there, but if an employer is asking for those documents through Handshake, they may not be able to see it until it's approved.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure if, like a transcript document, it may not require an approval. I'm not sure about that. But you want to make sure if it's saying pending, that could be what the deal is, okay? But anything that's uploaded automatically goes to Allison. So she sees everything in her queue that's uploaded. And she has 2 business days to get back to you on that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, you're good.
Sorry, I had a quick question about that too. If I have like a resume in there already and it's approved, but I have like an updated one that I want to put in, is it possible? Like, how does it work? Would it, like, my other ones stay approved while my other one's like pending, so I can still apply to stuff?
Yes, and then you can, if you have more than one document in there, you can show which one you want visible.
Okay.
So you could have your approved one visible while you're working on the other one.
Okay.
Yes, good question.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're in the jobs section, and so when you first click on jobs, you're going to see right here 2,000 jobs. Okay, so that means there's 2,000 jobs posted in Handshake. So what that means is the job that is actually posted here had to go through an approval process on our end. We don't let, this is not an open job board. We do not let just anybody come in here and post jobs. So we actually have to approve those jobs. And what that means is it is a job that they're looking for a business, one of our majors that we have in the business college. And that is either an paid internship or full-time job. Okay, we don't have any unpaid jobs in there, unpaid internships. So we do scrutinize these pretty good for you guys so that you don't feel like you're coming in here and having to weed through some of, like you might have to do on some other job platforms. So you can rest easy on that. So that's nice. But the one thing to know is all of these jobs may or may not be connected to on-campus recruiting, which means they come here to recruit tech students, or the career fair. So there are companies who will never set foot on this campus, never be involved in any of our events, but they have chosen to post their job with us. Okay, so there's that. But then there are also quite a few employers who are posting their jobs here who do attend our events like speed networking or career fair and are actively seeking Texas Tech students and are more active recruiting with us. Okay, so if you want to kind of know who those people are, then kind of a backdoor way to see that information is going to be to actually go to events. I know this is kind of weird because you're looking for jobs, but go to events and then go to on-campus interviews. Okay, so we click there. Now you can see a list of interviews. Well, if you can find one that fits you, then, and it, if you hit it and you can catch it before the deadline, then you can actually apply for the job through this link. And these interviews are actually taking place either on campus or virtually. So before COVID, these on-campus interviews means the recruiter is coming to the Rawls and does interviews. And a lot of times they're at career fair as well, okay? But with COVID, most of these are virtual. We have had a few in-person interviews this spring, which has been nice. And hopefully by fall, we will have even more in-person interviews. But if you kind of just go down this list, you'll see that most of these have this MTF spring recruiting. That is Meet the Firms, and that's for accounting. Okay, so that's a whole nother, unless you're an accounting student, those don't apply to you, okay? If you are an accounting student and you have no idea what Meet the Firms is, then you need to get with Chelsea Bauckham so that she can inform you. But if you don't know about it, it's probably because it's too early for you yet. So let's go ahead and go down and see if we can find one that's just a regular on-campus interview. So right here, we have Goosehead Insurance, but you can see the application deadline has already passed for that one. But I know there's one that has not expired yet. Let's see, I believe it's Hajoka. There it is. Okay, so Hajoka, if we click on this one, so right now we can see interview date. That means they are interviewing on March 10th, okay? Wholesale trade, that kind of tells you like kind of the area they're in, which, basically I think they do hire, I think they hire all majors basically. But what you would want to do is click on this one. And so now you can see the related jobs for Hajoka. And if either one of those are something you'd be interested in, then you click on it and then you begin the application process this way. Okay, so the nice thing about on-campus interviews are the way they're set up in the system is it actually notifies you whether or not you've been declined or accepted for the interview. So that way you're not just applying and left out there hanging and wondering what's going on, which is how most jobs are. These on-campus interviews are way more specific and give you a time frame. At least you know when the application closes, and you'll know whether or not you're selected for an interview, and then the process goes from there, where you pick an interview time or they give you an interview time. Okay, so this is something that you definitely would want to take advantage of at the beginning of the fall semester, because we're almost to mid-semester now, so we're going to be heading into the back end of recruiting. So you always want to take advantage of this early on in the semester. But let's just go ahead and go back to the jobs tab. And there's some really great filters that you can use here to kind of narrow this down from the 2,000 jobs that are showing. So whether or not you're looking for, I would start with full-time or internship. So if you're looking for an internship, click on that, and now you can see that that's narrowed it down to 700 jobs, which is still a lot, but it's a lot more manageable for you to look through. So from there, I would probably maybe use some location filters. So let's do Dallas. And now we've narrowed it down to 147 jobs. Okay, much more manageable. But when you're using the filters in Handshake, I don't want you to just put all your filters in and then just look and say, oh, well, that's it. There's not that much for me. I would definitely search around using different filters. So if you want to keep the internship filter on, that's fine. But then use some keywords, use some locations. Take internship filter off if you want to, and then do some other searching around. I really don't want you to miss anything, and I don't want you to narrow your search down so much by using filters that there's other opportunities that you would have missed because you narrowed it down so much. Okay. So look through here, see if there's something you're interested in, you click on it. Read about the role, read about the company, whatever, there's lots of good information on here, and then click the apply button if you're ready to apply. Okay. And then you've got your tab over here that's going to show you all of your applications, which these are all the way we have mock interviews set up in Handshake. I've messed around in here, so it's showing me that I've applied for all of these. So there's lots of different just ways that it kind of organizes your information. This is a list of every single employer through Handshake, which is a lot. So we're looking at 578,000 employers. Lots of universities use Handshake. Okay, so not all of those employers are posting jobs with Texas Tech, but if you want to search around and look around, then you can go ahead and follow employers, or just click on them to read about them. When you follow an employer in Handshake, Handshake is then going to notify you when an employer makes a, like if they schedule an info session, or if they're going to a career fair or anything like that, Handshake's going to notify you. So following employers that you're really interested in is a great idea. Another thing that you might want to use to help Handshake know you better is to come over here to up here by your profile picture, click on career interests, and be sure you fill out this career interest page, because this is really allowing Handshake to send you and highlight jobs and information and events that it thinks you would want to know about. Okay, so that's always a great way to get the most out of Handshake. Okay, so since we still need to talk about LinkedIn, and I don't want to make this too long, do y'all have any other questions about jobs in Handshake? Are we good?
I have a quick question.
Okay, sure.
If after we graduate, are we still allowed to use Handshake if we haven't found a job?
Yes, you can. So as an alumni, you can still use all of the services in the Career Management Center, and you can still use Handshake, and you can still come to career fairs. Great question. Okay, so now let's transition over to LinkedIn. All right, so what I have here is I have just, when I'm logged in, this is like my feed or whatever. And I do have students that sometimes get confused between LinkedIn and Handshake. They're two totally different things, even though they can kind of look alike in some ways. They're two totally different things, okay? But you can take information off of Handshake and put it on LinkedIn, or you can take information off of LinkedIn and put it on Handshake. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the LinkedIn profile. I do have there are some videos on our YouTube channel, Rawls Career Management Center on YouTube, and we have tons of videos on there, in fact. But if you want some more detailed information about LinkedIn, there's a couple of videos there, or feel free to make an appointment with me. but you want to have a complete profile. That you are going to get the best experience with LinkedIn if you do have a complete profile. But I'm going to save those details, for later so that we don't take up too much time. But that is going to optimize your job search, is having a complete profile. And a lot of it is the keywords that are inside your profile that help when recruiters are searching for talent in LinkedIn. They use a lot of keywords, and that's where they draw their potential candidates, is by searching, because they use a paid platform as a recruiter. And so they put in keywords, and then it gives them all these possible candidates. Okay, so you would want your profile to come up in a search that way. But for this workshop, I'm going to go ahead and click on the jobs tab here. And first of all, I really want to say the reason I started with Handshake is because I really feel like Handshake is your best bet for job searching in this situation while you are a student and you're looking for an internship or your first full-time role. So I would always say 100% go to Handshake first. But then it's always great to use LinkedIn as either an addition to your job search, or even just looking at what are people hiring for out there. So I think it's a great way for you to search different kinds of jobs, read the job descriptions. I mean, there's no harm at all in clicking through jobs, doing different types of searches and just reading those job descriptions, because a lot of that helps you learn what people are looking for. And you'll notice if you read through the skills sections on job descriptions, you'll see a lot of the same what we call competencies listed. So things like communication, teamwork, leadership, a lot of that stuff you'll see on just about every job description. So you can see how important those soft skills are, or competencies, which is what we call them. So a couple of cool things about LinkedIn is just about every company will post jobs on LinkedIn. So it's a great way to look around, get information, see what companies are hiring for. And then I was messing around in there today, and I actually found this. I don't know if it's new or if I've just never seen it, but if you click here on the More tab, they've got this interview prep. And if you click there, there's some common interview questions, or you can even change the categories here and change it to like accountant, different kinds of jobs, project management, whatever, but I just left it on common questions. And even though these sample answers are locked, they're trying to get you to buy the premium, okay, the premium, which you don't need, but you can still click on this, read the overview about that, and then scroll all the way down and get an answer framework with a little video. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I went through most of these and I agreed wholeheartedly with the feedback, or not the feedback, but the education that they were giving. So I was like, well, that is really cool. I did not know that was under the jobs tab. So that was just a free little information. So the way you can search for jobs in LinkedIn is very similar to other ways. You just can use search by title, skill, or company, search by location. Again, I recommend that you use different kinds of filters when you're searching, and don't narrow yourself down to too many filters, or you may miss opportunities. I think it's a great way to apply for jobs through LinkedIn. You can set job alerts. So when certain jobs that fit certain criteria come across, then LinkedIn will notify you, will email you about certain jobs that have been posted. So that's really nice. But I really think the most powerful thing you can do with LinkedIn is build your network, of course, but then also if there are companies that you are extremely interested in, then you need to follow that company. So let's just search a company and just see what we can find here. So I'm just going to put USAA. USA does recruit with us. So I'm going to click on, I want to go to the USAA page. Okay, so if I'm interested in USAA, I would want to follow them. I'm going to go ahead and follow them anyways, because they recruit with us. And then just see what all they have on their page, home, about, what are some of their posts, what are their jobs. So this is another way to kind of target a job search through LinkedIn, is just find the company page and then go down and see what jobs they have posted, see what people work at the company. Okay, you can even use some of these filters, like, Do I want to see if there's any, you know, Red Raiders, any Texas Tech alumni that have worked at USAA? So click there, and now I'm automatically taken to even more filters if I want to. So if I want to narrow it down to Lubbock, just, you know. So now I've got all of these people that are connected to Texas Tech and Lubbock somehow. And you could use this as a source to reach out to alumni for either networking or to get information about USAA, or, you know, to try to connect and, you know, see if, you know, you just never know where networking is going to get you. So this is a great way to do it, is through the company page. Okay. Also, another thing to consider is, so let's say, okay, I'm super interested in USAA, so I'm going to go to their posts and I'm going to see what all they've posted. A great way to get a company to notice you is start following what they do on LinkedIn, and anytime they make a post, like the post. Another thing you can do is comment on the post, and you could even share their content. Okay, be real careful with this. Okay, they're going to start noticing you if you interact with them on LinkedIn. Okay, so that's a great way to kind of stand out, and you can even bring that up in an interview. So let's say you have an interview with USAA, and you could say, you know, I found your page on LinkedIn, and I really like that post about, you know, the Black History Month post really spoke to me, you know, blah, 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 something like that. So what am I doing by talking about a post they made on LinkedIn? Well, I'm showing my interest because I actually took the time to go follow them on LinkedIn. So there's lots of ways that you can use that. Use it in an interview, use it to show interest, use it to follow them, apply for jobs through LinkedIn, and obviously promote your own personal brand through your own profile. Okay, so that's kind of just an overview of how to use the job searching side. Do y'all have any questions about any of that? See, it's already got some jobs recommended for me. I'm just kind of going off of my profile and search history. Okay, which I haven't been looking for jobs, but I do look at stuff in here to kind of relate to students. So yeah, there's a lot of background things going on, just like any other platform that's going to try to send you what it thinks you want to see. You know, just like Netflix, Spotify, you know, anything like that. LinkedIn's doing the same thing. And it's Handshake does the same thing, you know. So the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. Okay, do y'all have any other questions? Okay, my big audience of two here. Well, thank y'all so much for getting on. And I just want to remind you again about our YouTube channel. So I'll probably go ahead and put this one on there too. I felt like it was pretty good. Some pretty good information there. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.